picture this scenario. It's, I don't know, 8:45 a.m. You are squeezed into a tiny table at a crowded coffee shop, latte in one hand, fighting for elbow room.
Oh, I know this feeling all too well.
You have your corporate laptop open, desperately trying to download a PDF for a meeting that starts in like 10 minutes.
And the Wi-Fi is spotty, of course.
Of course. At the exact same time, your phone buzzes on the table. It's a text message. It looks like it's from your bank. Without even thinking, you tap the link on your phone.
It is the modern anxiety dream. But
Yeah.
for a security architect, that scenario isn't just stressful. It is a complete nightmare. It's the perfect storm.
It is pure chaos. And that chaos is the exact premise of today's deep dive. We are asking a really fundamental question. Is the browser the new endpoint?
It's a massive shift. I mean, you go back 10 years, the endpoint was the operating system. You locked down Windows, you were safe.
Right.
Today, we live in Chrome, we live in Safari. The browser is the operating system for all intents and purposes. So if that is where the work is happening...
That is where the war is being fought. We have a fascinating stack of research to get through today to answer this. We've got technical documentation from Broadcom and CrowdStrike, a really sobering 2025 Global Mobile Threat Report from Zimperium, and some very candid Reddit threads.
Oh, I love the Reddit threads. That's where you get the real story. And our mission today is to decode the philosophies behind the heavy hitters in this space. We are looking at CrowdStrike, Symantec, Trellix, Norton, and Carbon Black.
And the biggest takeaway for me was that they are not all trying to solve the same problem.
Not at all, no.
It has moved way beyond just stop the virus.
Yeah.
We're talking about data loss prevention, behavior analytics, the deep architecture of mobile devices. So let's start with the desktop, the browser battleground.
Right, because for a long time, an extension was, just something you installed to block ads.
Or find a coupon code.
Yeah. But in the enterprise stack, that browser extension has evolved. It's a sensor now. It's a surveillance device sitting inside the encrypted stream of traffic.
And that encrypted part is key, right? Because pretty much the entire web is HTTPS now.
Exactly. And that creates this huge problem for old school security. If you're a firewall sitting on the network wire looking at traffic, all you see is scrambled noise. It's encrypted.
You can't tell if it's a Salesforce update or a malicious script.
You have no idea. So the security vendors realized they had to move. They couldn't sit on the wire anymore. They had to get inside the browser,
where the data is decrypted.
And this is where we see the first major philosophical split. Let's look at Symantec first.
In my notes, I call them the active gatekeeper.
That is a perfect way to put it. Based on the Broadcom docs, Symantec is still very focused on the network layer, even within the browser. Their philosophy is traffic inspection.
Okay, so walk me through it. I type in a URL. What is Symantec doing in those milliseconds before the page loads?
It is querying a massive reputation database. They use something called WebEx definitions and IPS signatures. That's intrusion prevention system. Think of it like a bouncer with a list of banned IDs.
But it's not just a naughty list.
No, it's more dynamic. They're checking traffic against attack signatures. If you click a link that hosts a known exploit kit, or if the domain was just registered 5 minutes ago, which is a huge red flag, Symantec intervenes.
And they're aggressive about it.
Very. They don't just put up a little banner. They redirect your browser to a hard block page.
A hard stop. You shall not pass.
Precisely. Their whole philosophy is keep the bad stuff out. If the code never even loads, it can't hurt you.
But then you look at CrowdStrike and Trellix, and the vibe is totally different. I was reading these Reddit threads where users were confused. They're asking, why isn't this blocking pop-ups?
Right. Why didn't it stop me from going to this weird site? And that is because CrowdStrike and Trellix are playing a different game. They're what I'd call the insider watchdogs.
Meaning they aren't watching the door, they're watching what's happening inside the room.
Exactly. There was a comment from a sysadmin that just nailed it. They said, the Falcon extension is a component of Falcon data protection. That is the key. They are primarily DLP tools.
Data loss prevention.
Right. They are less worried about you downloading a virus and much more worried about you uploading the company's secrets.
That's a huge shift in mindset. It goes from protect the computer from the internet to protect the data from the user.
It's a recognition that the user is often the biggest risk, whether they mean to be or not. And Trellix takes this even further. The sources highlight their integration with the Google Chrome Enterprise API. They are looking for insider threats.
Which sounds a little ominous.
It can be. I mean, they can disable the print function on specific pages. They can block the copy command if you're looking at sensitive data. It is extremely granular control.
So Symantec is the bouncer, And CrowdStrike and Trellix are the security cameras making sure employees aren't stealing silverware.
It's a good analogy. And then you have the third philosophy, carbon black.
The patient sniper.
I like that. It fits. Because carbon black's approach is, well, it's fascinatingly risky on the surface. They explicitly state they do not block the download of software.
Which sounds completely insane. Wait, you let me download the malware?
You can download it. It can sit in your downloads folder. Carbon black doesn't care.
Because a file just sitting there is inert. It's just ones and zeros.
Exactly, until you double-click it. That is the aha moment for carbon black. They focus on execution prevention. They monitor the behavior of the file as it tries to run.
So it waits for the file to show its true colors.
Right. Does this PDF suddenly try to access system memory? Does this calculator app try to encrypt your documents? As soon as it deviates from normal behavior, carbon black kills the process.
It's like a legal distinction.
Yeah.
Innocent until proven guilty.
That is a great way to frame it. And the benefit is fewer false positives. You aren't blocking legitimate sites just because they look a little weird. You only block actual malicious activity.
Okay, so that covers the desktop. We have the ACA blockers, the data watchdogs, and the behavioral blockers. But we started this whole conversation in a coffee shop. You're holding a phone.
And that brings us to the mobile landscape. And I have to say, looking at these Imperium 2025 report, we are arguably more vulnerable on our phones.
The headline stat that jumped out at me from that report was mishing.
Mishing. Mobile phishing. It is the #1 threat vector right now.
Why is it so much worse on mobile? Is it just that we're distracted?
Distraction is part of it, but it's also the UI. On a desktop, you hover your mouse over a link, you can see the actual URL. You can see if PayPal.com is really paypal-secure-login.xyz.
But on a phone, there's no hover.
You just have a button. And screen real estate is so small that URLs get cut off. You just see PayPal.com and you assume it's safe. Zimperium notes that 1 in 5 Android devices has encountered malware.
1 in 5, that's 20%. If 20% of company laptops were infected, the CISO would be fired.
It would be a full-blown crisis. On mobile, it's just Tuesday. And a big reason for that is sideloading.
Which brings us to the architecture wars.
Yeah.
Android's open ecosystem versus the iOS walled garden.
Right. This is where the white papers on OS architecture get really interesting. Android allows sideloading installing apps from outside the official Google Play Store.
That's where most of the malware comes from.
The vast majority. But Android isn't the Wild West it used to be. The docs mention Google Play Protect.
So what is that exactly?
It's an always-on scanner that lives on the device. It scans every app, even the ones you sideload. So it's a built-in safety net.
And there was another feature, network security configuration.
This is critical for our coffee shop scenario. It basically tries to force apps to use HTTPS. It prevents developers from sending your login info in clear text. It's a back-end safeguard users never see.
Then there's sandboxing.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean here?
Imagine your phone is a hotel. Each app is a guest in a locked room. The flashlight app in room 101 cannot see what the banking app in room 102 is doing. It can't read its data.
Unless you give it permission.
Right. Which we all do without reading, but the structure is there.
Okay, so let's pivot to Apple, the walled garden. The common idea is iPhones don't get viruses.
Which is a dangerous assumption.
Yeah.
But structurally, they are more locked down. You generally can't sideload apps. That eliminates the biggest vector. But what really blew my mind was the privacy architecture in Safari.
The fraudulent website warning system. This was the bit about hash prefixes, right?
Yes, this is brilliant engineering. So Safari warns you if you visit a phishing site. To do that, it needs to check the URL against a list of bad sites from Google.
But Apple would never just send your entire browsing history to Google.
Never. So instead of sending the full URL, Safari takes that URL, scrambles it into a hash, and sends just the first few characters of that hash to Google.
Okay, hang on. Break that down.
Safari basically says, hey Google, send me a list of all the bad websites whose scrambled names start with AB3.
So they aren't sending the specific address, they're just asking for a chunk of the database.
Exactly. Google sends back a list of, say, 50 bad sites. Then Safari on your device compares your specific URL to that small list.
That is incredibly clever. Google knows you visited some site in that group, but not which one.
It preserved your privacy while still using Google's threat intelligence.
And then they layer iCloud Private Relay on top of that.
Which is essentially a 2-hop VPN. One server knows who you are, but not where you're going. The second server knows where you're going, but not who you are.
It breaks the chain.
And this is the reality check. The sources mention Pegasus.
The military-grade spyware.
Yeah. It's the sobering splash of cold water. It targets iPhones specifically. It uses zero-click exploits. You get a text, you don't even open it, and your phone is compromised.
It proves no walled garden is unscalable.
No garden's perfectly unscalable. Which brings us back to the vendors. How do Symantec and Norton tackle mobile?
Right, if the OS can be beaten.
They focus on the network. The WatchPost security sources mention Wi-Fi security a lot for Symantec. They're looking for man-in-the-middle attacks.
That's the guy in the coffee shop trying to intercept your data.
Exactly. Symantec checks the Wi-Fi connection. If it sees something weird with the security certificate, it alerts you.
And on the consumer side, Norton is pushing this AI tool called Genie.
This is to fight mishing. You take a screenshot of a suspicious text, upload it, and an AI analyzes the language in the link to tell you if it's a scam.
An AI lie detector for your text messages.
Pretty much.
But there's one concept in this Imperium report that I think pulls this entire mobile discussion together. Device attestation.
This is the holy grail for enterprise security.
It sounds technical, but it's a simple concept of trust, isn't it?
It is. You can have the most secure banking app in the world. But if that app is running on a phone that's been rooted or jailbroken,
Where the user has stripped away the OS security.
exactly, then the app's security is worthless. It's like putting a bank vault door on a cardboard box.
So attestation is the app asking the phone, hey, are you still intact? Has anyone messed with you?
Correct. Tools like CrowdStrike perform these checks. They look at the kernel integrity. If the device fails that check, it doesn't matter if you have the right password. You are not getting into corporate email.
It quarantines the device itself.
It preserves the chain of trust.
Okay, let's do a quick lightning round. Let's decode what these tools actually do when these events happen.
Let's do it.
Scenario 1, phishing. I get a fake email, I click the link.
Symantec or Norton, they try to block the URL. Red screen, CrowdStrike, they might let the page load, but the moment you try to type your corporate credentials, they block the input, they protect the data.
Scenario 2, drive-by download. I visit a news site, a malicious ad silently downloads a file.
Symantec tries to block the ad network. If it gets through, Carbon Black is waiting. The second that file tries to execute, it's dead.
Scenario 3, man in the middle at the airport Wi-Fi.
That's where Symantec Mobile or Norton VPN shines. They detect the encryption is being tampered with, and they cut the connection or tunnel you through their own secure server.
And finally, the insider threat. I'm quitting, and I try to upload the client list to my personal Dropbox.
Trellix and CrowdStrike Falcon data protection. They are watching the browser APIs. They see the upload action. They scan the file contents, see it matches a customer data pattern, and block it.
And then you get a very awkward phone call.
If you're lucky.
It is fascinating how these companies have carved out such specific niches. It's not a one-size-fits-all market anymore.
Not at all. We've got three distinct philosophies. Active blocking from Symantec, data loss prevention from CrowdStrike and Trellix, and execution prevention from Carbon Black.
So for you, listening, when you're evaluating these tools, you really need to ask, what am I most afraid of?
That is the question. Are you a hospital afraid of ransomware? You probably want Carbon Black. A law firm worried about case files leaking, CrowdStrike's DLP. A bank worried about employees clicking weird links, Symantec.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with a thought from a Menlo Security white paper in our stack. It was a concept called remote browser isolation.
This is the most provocative idea of them all.
The premise is, if the browser is the most dangerous app on your computer, why are we running it on the computer at all?
Right. Why bring the web's code down to your machine? Menlo suggests running the browser in the cloud on their servers.
So when I go to a website, the site is actually loading on a server somewhere else.
And that server takes a video stream of the website, just the pixels, and sends it to your laptop. You can click, scroll, type, but no code ever touches your device.
It's like watching a Netflix stream of the internet.
Exactly. If there is a virus on the site, it infects their cloud server. They just delete that instance and spin up a new one. Your laptop is pristine.
It raises a fundamental question about the future. Is the ultimate security solution having no internet browser actually on your computer?
It might be. The air gap might be the only way to be truly safe.
That is a wild thought to end on. From the coffee shop to the cloud, the perimeter is everywhere. As always, thank you for listening to this deep dive into the research provided by WatchPost Security. Stay safe out there.
Stay secure.